Hi guys, and welcome to my very first game development log. Technically this isn't the very first game development log. I have done things like this last year. How are you all doing? Let me know. This is my second channel. So I do have a main channel. My main channel is Shirin Rove, and that's where I do anime and movie reactions, and sometimes I do gaming streams as well. The last game that I played was Resident Evil. Over on this channel though, this is going to be focused on me trying at least to make a game. And this time around, I'm taking things a lot more seriously. Also, it's very much RPG Maker related, so I will be doing first impressions of my thoughts and playthrough, my first time playthrough of other people's games, because when you are developing your own game, you do have to do your own research into other people's games to see what they're doing. And also, I just love RPG Maker and RPG style games, so that's something you can expect on the second channel if you just very recently subscribed, or if you need a recap. So last year I came up with this idea. I was inspired to make my own RPG, specifically a Middle Eastern style RPG with Muslim characters, and I was at the beginning stages, very early stages of it, and I was playing around with RPG Maker MC. So this is my channel, The Last Lightbringer, and this is the working title for the RPG, and I just put up a placeholder image. Obviously this is not the actual the official art, it's just a placeholder for now. And I know that the banner is a bit messed up. Yeah, YouTube banners are always it's very hard to make it in place. They have very strict rules regarding it, so I'll see what I can do to fix that. But anyway, that's just a little teaser for you. And the last video that I made was doing a first impressions of Tales of Grimace. Please do check that out, it's a really good game. It can definitely give you ideas about what you can do with your own game if you are interested in making your own game, specifically an RPG. I absolutely love the classic JRPGs. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so I just thought I'd introduce myself first, and also to let you guys know that I did start to work on it last year, 11 months ago to be precise. But I didn't know what I was doing. I really did not know what I was doing, and I made quite a lot of mistakes. I did make some things, some progress, especially with like making a forest level, and being able to come up with some sort of plot. But honestly, I just found it so daunting, the RPG Maker. So what happened was that once I got to like making a forest level, not only is it that I have absolutely no prior RPG Maker experience in terms of making my own game. So for some people, most people, they seem to have like years and years experience of using RPG Maker. For me, I'm not one of those people. I'm also not very good with art. I'm not a digital artist or any sort of artist, so my capabilities in both the game developing department and also the art department is pretty much zero. So what I've had to do is I've had to watch a whole lot of RPG Maker tutorials so that I can familiarize myself a bit more with how to use the events function, because I was already a little bit familiar with the map design tools, and now I am more informed. I'm not an expert, but I'm definitely a lot more informed about both map designing, making better maps, and also using the events function and knowing where everything is to actually make the story itself, to make the game itself. So that's that. So if you are new to the channel, if you don't know who I am, so I've been doing YouTube for a very long time. So as I said, I do have a main channel. In case you're interested in anime and movie reactions, this one is just going to be focused on RPG Maker and me making game development logs. In my own time, I am an English, maths and science tutor, so my forte really is understanding storytelling, And I'm going to use that special skill. I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything, but I'm going to use that to my advantage to hopefully make a compelling plot in this game. Because if I'm really lacking in the arts and the game development departments, even though I'm obviously going to try my best to teach myself those things, I can at least try to make a compelling plot. I do want to make sure I make everyone proud. Well, can't make everyone proud, but you understand what I mean. I want to make sure that I make a good enough game that will at least impress a lot of people. So yeah, this is the first time where I'm actually taking things more seriously. I actually know what I'm doing, at least most of the time. So I just wanted to give you guys an update. So this is my update video about what I've been doing the past few weeks. So I've only just recently started to think about going back into this project because I abandoned it for like 11 months, thinking that I'd have no chance in making this game because it just seemed so complicated. So what I had to do was I had to watch a bunch of RPG Maker tutorials to work out how to do at least some of the things and also understand how to make better maps because I'm not a fan of the default tile sets. It's not all bad, there are some lovely default tile sets, but I definitely don't want it to all be default. So I have already purchased some assets from like outside sources, and I've also downloaded some free assets as well. So I will be using those assets as well as the default for the maps. At least that's the plan at the moment. I don't know if I'll change plans and tactics at a later date. So do look forward to these development logs because I'm just going to be spitting a lot of different things to you guys. So yeah, I've actually been focusing a lot on storytelling, but I'll let you know what I've been doing in terms of map design. So I've barely done much just because I'm so fussy. So I had to make no way, it wasn't a new project or anything. But I've basically had to rethink the story, and this is the village so far that I made. I was trying to zoom in. Can't zoom in like that. Gotta zoom in like this. I'm not the most satisfied with it, but at least it's better than what I did before. And this is the pharmacy that my main character is an assistant of, and her and her mother, they own this pharmacy. And so yeah, this is just a standard village. It has an inn. This is my main character's home. This is, I believe I created a cow's shed, you know, where cows and other animals live. And this is one of the other party members' homes, and there's just a random NPC's home. And this is like a play area for children with a sand pit and like a pond area. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing, but this is what I created. I don't know if I most likely will change certain things, but that's what I did. Now, in terms of defaults, so you can see that I've used some defaults, like about, I'd say about 60% is default, and then the 40% is not default. So for example, these trees, I'm not a fan of the default trees, so I've added in painterly trees. So that's a particular developer that made these tile sets. So they've made like a whole bunch of different kinds of trees, and I just think they look beautiful. So I've added those in. I don't know if I'll change it or anything, but this is what it looks like for now. And also these, you know, these two houses, the orange and the green, they are not defaults. So I did purchase the Everyday Town tile set by Kokoro Reflections, and so I'm using those as well. Yeah, that's, yeah. that's pretty much it. And I've had to figure out how to like make these 3D because I'm just not really a fan of the 2D looking houses, even though I will still probably incorporate a few of them, but I do very much prefer how to make the 3D style houses. I've really had to like, the thing about making an RPG Maker game is you really have to use the tile set. You've got to play around with it a couple of times to know how to use everything. Like for example, these things, these are fences, like a fence. So that's something that I didn't know before, and I was trying to figure out, let me see where it is. I was trying to figure out how to use these ones, and then eventually I figured out how to do it. It allows you to make like an L-shaped house or like a really elongated house. So I had to work out how to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to fiddle with that to see what other shapes I can make. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing, familiarizing more with the actual tools that I have, as well as adding in my own well, not my own, other people's tile sets that I can use. Obviously, make sure that you can use it for commercial use. And yeah, these are the tile sets that I decided to use for this map. So the next step for this map will be to add lighting and shadows, because at the moment everything looks very it looks like it's daytime when it's going to be like late afternoon in the actual story. So I'm going to have to dim the actual map a bit, and that's using tint screen function. So yeah, I've actually learned a few things since last time. Like 11 months ago, I just had no clue really what I was doing. So yeah, I would recommend really familiarizing yourself with the actual engine software, maybe even make your own little game. I didn't, but I just wanted to. It's just because if I am going to make a game, I'd want to be passionate about it and actually stick to it. And this is something that I'm passionate about, so I just hope that I don't lose that motivation again, or at least not for too long, because 11 months is quite a long time to take a break. And yeah, so that's in terms of map design. In the meantime, I've also been creating my own characters and trying to modify how they look as well. So I guess I could show that as well. So when you are actually making characters, you use the character generator, and I modified my heroine. So she's the main character. Let's see where she is. So previously, I've actually modified it like a few times because I just wanted to make sure she at least didn't look too defaulty, or I mean, she obviously, I'm not an artist, so I can't like just make her out of scratch, but this is the best I could do. So this was the defaults. So I do recommend that when you are creating your characters, that you give them lots of facial expressions, especially if they're very important to the story, like your main character and your party members. Then you definitely need to create as many facial expressions, unless they're an expressionless kind of person, then maybe not that many expressions for them. But if they're a very expressive person, and my character Nora, she is very expressive, then yeah, she has a whole range of emotions. Because the actual story, not to get into spoilers, but it's quite a sad one in certain aspects of it. There are some really dark themes, so yeah, poor Nora. Anyway, so this is how she looked before, and then I used GIMP to kind of make her a little bit more how I want it to look. It's not perfect by any means. I hope you realized what the difference is. So the difference is that I wanted her actual dress to be turquoise color. The gradient is not showing well, so I will have to modify this even further. But basically what I've done is I've gotten rid of the light blue color and replaced it with turquoise. It's a very subtle difference, but it makes a big difference. And I've also changed this. It's like a design that's put on her turban, like hijab. This is the best I could do in terms of the headwear because in the actual character generator, there's no like proper hijab, so this is the best that I could do. And I just thought to myself that this is a lovely pattern and I might as well match it with this dress, but I should have added more of a gradient here so that it's a bit darker. So that's a further edit that I'll make, and this is what I did, customized it further by using GIMP. And by the way, with GIMP, I had absolutely no idea how to use that before. It just looks so confusing to me. I'm not someone who's done like photography or art, or digital art. I did do art in school. In fact, I did it as a GCSE as well, but we didn't really do like digital art. So I'm not familiar with Photoshop. And because of that, I wasn't familiar with GIMP. GIMP is like the free version of Photoshop. Because Photoshop cost too much, I just stuck with GIMP and it worked fine. So I really had to work out how to do this. So I'll definitely show like a tutorial to go over how to actually customize your default characters further using GIMP. So that would be for a future tutorial. I just wanted to explain what I've been doing. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So that's Nora. Let's see another character. Okay, Princess Jada. So thing with Princess Jada, actually I'll show what she used to look like. Let's see. So this is what is the subtlest difference ever. It's not something you'll be able to notice properly, but this is the default Princess Jada. And then her clothes were different before. Last year, I gave her different clothes, so I've basically just had to redo the characters this time around because I wasn't really satisfied with what they were wearing. I've even changed the main male character's armor. So this is a default Princess Jada, and then we have. Do you see the difference? I'm going to give you a minute to work out the two differences that I made. Okay, not a minute, but anyway. So the difference is that I made these gold just to add to the royal charm. She is a princess. She loves jewelry, and she is of high status. So that's just to further exemplify. If it's too much gold, then just tell me. I just thought, because before these were actually green, like the same color as this, and I was just thinking, no, I want it to stand out more. So that's why I did that, and I gave her pink lipstick. So in the previous one, she did not have pink lipstick. I probably should. I did the best I could with GIMP. So yeah, I basically gave her makeup. That's the other change. So yeah, just a very light modification, maybe further down the line. As for one of the mains, I haven't done anything with this. I was trying to add the gold things here, and I was actually trying to attempt to add some Arabic lettering here. The thing is with these images, these are just prototypes, so these are not like going to be in the final game. These are just placeholders for now, just to let whoever the artist is that I'm going to hire know what my vision is for the character. So it's really to help the artist to know how to create the actual character bust. So my plan is to have not just the face, but the torso as well to be shown. It's not just the face that I want and the shoulders. most RPG Maker games, they do feature character bust, which means that it's the head as well as the entire torso, maybe even the legs being shown. For me, I just want the head and the torso being shown, shoulders and torso, because it just looks more better visually to see more of the character. So yeah, it's just placeholders basically. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. And the other thing, okay, so the other thing that I've been doing, and this is the main thing that I've been doing so far, it's only been a few weeks of rethinking this game because I've just been completely forgetting about it, not wanting to be bothered with it. But then recently I was just like, this is such a good story. So I revamped the story idea, and well, when I say that, it's still technically the same storyline but with very very subtle changes. And I decided to create a games brief. Now a brief is basically giving information as much as possible, because initially I thought maybe I should just hire a game developer. So because I was in the mindset of maybe hiring a game developer, someone who actually knows how to make RPG Maker games, because I was just so intimidated by the engine, thinking that I'm just not gonna have a clue. It just felt like so much work as well. But then I thought, no, I want to be in control. I want people to know that I can actually do this as well. So yeah, that's my thought process. So initially it was to give all this information to a game developer, but it's helping me as well. It's helping me to understand my story. So you know when an RPG starts or any sort of game, they usually have like some sort of introduction. Back in the 1990s, the JRPGs, they would have like this super awesome opening or introduction. My favorite was Final Fantasy VI's intro. I absolutely love. I was literally watching that earlier today just because of how dramatic, intense, and compelling that opening was. I'm not talking about the PS1 opening, I'm talking about the very original opening. And so there's just something that I came up with. In the world of Africa. So that's just an Arabic, I forgot the meaning of it. It's just an Arabic word that I came up with to name the entire world. Kingdoms, cities, and villages are plagued by the devilish forces of jinns, shaitans, and sahirs. Those are spirits, demons, and sorcerers. For the past decade, the situation was fairly kept under control, but in recent days there has been a surge and ongoing rumors about an expert healer in a remote village. Nora, an apothecary assistant, is raved as the village's best healer, to the point where her name has even reached borders outside of her own residence. But the consequences of having such gifts grow suspicions and may lead to death. Okay, so that's just an introduction. Obviously, these kind of ideas, I don't mind actually saying it because I feel like certain ideas will change over time anyway. This is just a picture to give an example of how to make your own logline. So when you first start making your RPG Maker game, I would recommend that you just play around with the tools of RPG Maker Engine if you are not familiar. If you're already familiar, then you can just skip that step. And I would really focus on the story development, because I feel like people very much focus on how it looks rather than how it tells as a story. Obviously, art is very important. It creates a very lasting first impression if the art is amazing and stuff. But if you don't have those artistic capabilities, then that means you're going to have to hire an artist to make certain assets. But not everyone has the money. I do have it quite a moderate budget, so I do have the money to buy certain assets, but like I do need to also work out how to do things on my own as well. And you do need to think about the kinds of themes that are going to be in your story. So the development software I'm going to be using is MZ, not the previous ones. Story themes, conflict, genocide, power, marriage, and freedom. So that's how I've listed it down. And the game's battle system at the moment, I do want it to be turn-based. I love turn-based. I do love ATB as well. I actually don't mind the timer for ATB, but I feel like a lot of people prefer turn-based. It allows you to actually think about what you want to do. But I will be adding a plugin to actually allow the player to switch the characters during the battle. So very much like Final Fantasy X, where you are allowed to switch players, the characters around in the actual battle. So that will be good. And also adding in some sort of camera based plugin to zoom in on the characters when they're performing their ability. That would be good. So yeah, I've been actually looking at certain plugins to see what I can do that goes beyond the capabilities of RPG Maker MZ. So yeah, you definitely need to look at itch.io to find other assets, not just using default, and also to find character sprites if that's something you're looking at, and also plugins as well. If you really are taking it seriously, that is. And if you really want to impress, then that's the way to go. So now for the logline. So a logline is basically like both to understand the gist of your story, and also you use it as a marketing tool to sell your game. So you really do need to know your logline. So I just did this today, the logline. I've actually done it in like reverse order, thinking about the big picture rather than trying to sum it up. And it's actually quite hard to sum it up in like 1 or 2 sentences. So technically the logline is supposed to be shorter than this, but this is the best that I can do. So at the moment my logline is: a young apothecary assistant who has been living remotely in a peaceful village starts bringing attention to herself with her super healing tonics and questioning the outside world. As a result, her village gets attacked by a horde of demons, leading to the death of one of her neighbors. So she decides to leave her village with a friend to investigate the attack, only to be made a constant target by a ruthless totalitarian king. Okay, so I do need to figure out how to make that shorter, but just to give an example of an actual logline, and you can guess what movie this is. A spirited farm boy joins a rebellion to save a princess from a sinister Imperial enforcer and the galaxy from a planet-destroying weapon. And then they've added some notes here which I thought was really useful. So you do need to describe, not name, describe. So in loglines, they actually describe the protagonist, like what kind of personality they have. So for my one, I described them as a young apothecary assistant, and even though she's not that young, she's 19 years old, so I will have to change that around. It's a little bit tricky, to be honest. And then what exactly do they do? What does this protagonist do? So for Luke Skywalker, so this is the logline, or a logline of Star Wars. He joins a rebellion, so that's what the protagonist does. And then the goal is to save a princess, it's Princess Leia, from a sinister Imperial enforcer, that's Darth Vader, and the galaxy from a planet-destroying weapon, the Death Star. So yeah, this is to give you an idea of how to do it. So I will need to do some tinkering. And then comes the game. So you basically just you start off with little details first, and then you build on it. So that's one way. I'm not saying you have to do it that way. I'm just showing you my process, okay? So take it with a grain of salt if you want. That's totally fine. Everyone, there's some people who just don't want to do any planning, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine if you don't want to do any planning. I'm just someone who, because storytelling comes naturally to me, I do have to think like this. because I used to do outlining a lot for novel writing, even though I never published a novel, but that's what I used to do. So it just comes a bit more naturally to me. So then comes the games blurb, or like a little synopsis. And then the next step is to really understand the 3-act story structure of your game. So the 3-act story structure goes in Act 1, where you're just introducing the problem, the inciting incident that starts off the journey. And then Act 2 is when things get worse and worse, more and more problems and more obstacles for the protagonist to achieve their goal. And then comes Act 3, where the climax happens, like the big final fight with the boss, for example, and then the resolution, where most of the time the resolution is that the character has solved the problem and they have saved the world. So that's fantasy stories in a nutshell. Yeah, and then so this is just a work in progress. Basically, I've not finished it or anything. And I was just thinking about my main characters, their jobs, and their main skills. So I've decided to customize my classes rather than using the default classes, even though Khalil is default, but that's alright. I might have to change Dagger because I'm thinking of making him use a shuriken instead. Would be more interesting. So my main character, my main female character, and the main character overall, her name is Nora, and she is a Lightbringer. So she's basically a white mage, but better, because not only can she heal, I was actually supposed to write that she can heal, and she can heal herself and other party members. But because she has the power to generate light and manipulate light, she can blind the enemy. Eventually she will be able to burn enemies, because the thing about light is that if it's concentrated light, like really concentrated light, it can burn. I don't know the science behind it, but so I decided to add that as well. Because it's a world full of demons, jinns, she will eventually have the ability to exercise. And I think that will be a natural ability, but I'm not entirely sure about these things. And then just attack enemies with light. So and she'll be using a staff. Yeah, I've not put too much for. So basically with Nora is that she's not going to be that skilled to begin with, because the context is that she has had to literally hide her powers from the whole village, as no one else has these powers apart from her. So because she's had to hide her powers, it's not like she can just go out and train. So because she's not well trained, she will only have a bit of an understanding of how to generate light. So she will be able to blind enemies. So that's her starting skill. And then later on, she will learn more and more skills. It's the same with the other characters, where they have the starting skills at the beginning. And then over time, they will learn more and more skills as they level up. So that's the idea at the moment. There's the other idea of including some sort of skill point system where you can decide what skills you want to learn, but I don't know just yet. I'm not going to go through all of this, but feel free to read if you want. And then I just went over list of main quests. Obviously this is not definitive or anything. I've actually changed a few things around. Because I did this a few weeks ago. It's just so that I can get an understanding of where the actual story is going. So I've actually put in chapters. So each chapter, there's an objective, or there could be a few objectives, and you have to go through the objectives to complete the chapter, or at least the main objective. You don't necessarily have to do everything just to complete a chapter. Just as long as you've done the main story objective, then that's good. At least that's the idea at the moment. Yeah, there's going to be some side quests, so really it's going to follow more of a linear story pattern. It's going to be linear, but it's not going to just restrict you to just the main story. You will still have opportunities to explore the whole area so they can find out more about what the NPCs want, because there's going to be NPCs in the game that will ask you to rescue their cat, for example, or if they need a special item, or if they need something crafted, or if they need help with their farm. So those are some ideas that I'm thinking about adding as like just other things to do, aside from the main story objectives, so that it doesn't feel too linear. I hope that makes sense. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and I've recently purchased Scrivener so that I can start outlining. So I know my chapter 1 very well because I actually did the video game script. Yes, I'm doing an actual screenplay to go over what the actual dialogue is and what I need to do in terms of what kinds of events are needed, because I really need to think in an organized way. I can't just start making the game, because then it will demotivate me if I don't know what I'm doing. So that's why I'm doing the screenplay, and also I will be hiring voice actors to voice the actual main characters. It won't be for every single character, it will just be for the cutscenes and main characters. Yeah, so that's why it's very important to have a screenplay. So the thing about Scrivener is that it's a paid software. So there is a free one called CeltX. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that's a screenwriting software. I think I'll just show you. That's my website on YouTube, and CeltX. So this is a screenwriting software, and this is free, I believe. Let's see. Is it free? Oh, get started for free. Oh, there is a free plan. So the free plan, number of seats, number of projects that you can do is 1. Okay. So that will allow you to make at least 1 project. But you won't have all the features unless you get the writer mode. So the reason why I didn't use Count is just because I already was quite familiar with Scrivener, because I already knew that Scrivener had its own outline function. So it's not just for writing novels and writing screenplays and scripts, but it also allows you to write your own outline, and I really needed that feature so that I can work out where the actual story is going. So that's why I purchased Scrivener. But honestly, like, if you're on a budget, stick to Celt or another or you could just use Microsoft Word. But the thing is, it takes a long time to format the screenplay. And the thing about Scrivener, so I'm going to go to the actual video game folder, if I can find it. So that's oh, there it is. So the thing about Scrivener is that it has its own script writing mode. So, and what I mean by that is that this is the kind of format a screenplay is. So for those who are like, what the hell is a screenplay? So basically a screenplay is a script. It's usually used for TV and film so that the actors can know what their characters are saying. The thing about video games is that they also have their own version of a screenplay. I was trying to find online what exactly a video game script is supposed to look like, but I barely found anything. And I was shocked, to be honest, because I thought there would have at least been some kind of resource on it. So I just thought, I'll just make it look like as if I'm writing a movie. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, I just need to make sure the voice actors know what the characters are saying, and I need to know where exactly I need to put events in. So I'll just explain very briefly, because I was planning to actually go over the whole screenplay thing in another video. So I'm just gonna go over what this is. So how it goes is you first need to say whether it's happening inside or outside, which is why it says int for interior, and this is happening in the Herbs Galore Apothecary. So that's the shop that my main character is an assistant of, and it's happening in the late afternoon. So you do have to state the whereabouts and the time. And then you need to include some context, so that's action. Don't know if you guys can see. It starts off with scene heading, so that's how it's formatted. Scene heading, then action, then character, then dialogue, and then it can and also this is parenthetical if you need parentheticals. Let me see. Yeah, there's parenthetical. Sometimes I just manually did it. And the thing that I've highlighted, so obviously in an actual script you don't highlight things, but I really need to know when I need to add events in. So this is an event and a possible plugin maybe of adding a timer. And yeah, these are the plugins actually, because I put it in blue. Blue means plugin. I need to add plugins in to make these things work. And then the blue are the events. Yeah, that was it. So that's how I've done the actual screenplay. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on what I've been doing. It's not much, but that's what I've been doing in my own time. It's not easy. You really have to, like, if you really are passionate about the particular game that you're making, if it feels too much, you can just hire someone, if you do have the money, that is, or you can ask your friends to help you with the voice acting, or ask your friends to help you with a certain thing, especially if they're talented in art or something like that. Then it's always worth asking, because I don't really have anyone who is an expert in art. Then I do have to look at outside sources for voice acting and so on. But in the meantime, I do need to just familiarize myself with RPG Maker and continue with the script. So my objectives at the moment is to finish the video game script. So I'm going act at a time. So I'm doing act 1 first, and then I'll start making the actual game. I do need to also design more maps. I've barely done anything in terms of maps just because of how picky I am. I'm very picky. Oh gosh, I'm such a perfectionist, and that's why I never got a novel done. I used to like write novels, and I just thought it was shit. So unfortunately I never got to like publish a novel. I just lose the motivation. So hopefully I don't lose that motivation. I hope I can keep things fresh. That's what I'm trying to do, keep things fresh rather than doing the same thing all the time, because I know that's going to make me lose that motivation, or at least I think that that's what might happen. Yeah, that's a development update for you guys, and to give you ideas about what you could do if you're trying to start making a game, or if you're not really familiar with storytelling ideas. Then that's an idea to go over. Those are the ideas to go over. I hope this has been helpful, and stay tuned for the next one. The next one will be me going into more detail about the video game script, as well as other updates as well. Probably like map design and character creation. Yeah, look forward to that. See you. Bye. Stay tuned for more.